Okay, so in lieu of our usual Tehilim-shiur, we're doing a Tefilah exploration. It's not really Tefilah, Berachos exploration, I guess, right? Because Isaiah here and Tamar had a kid, and the bris is tomorrow. And so last time we had a bris here, it was Sarah and Moshe, and I was struck by I guess I hadn't been to a bris in a long time. Yeah, right. I feel like I hadn't been to a bris since probably before COVID. And I was struck by the weirdness of the long bracha. And so that's kind of what I want to focus on. The long bracha. In fact, it struck me as so weird that my intuition, which obviously was wrong, told me like, I wonder if this was composed at a later date, you know? So let's just really quickly go through let's go through like just the seder of what goes on here, because since this is exploration and I didn't prepare this, I don't really know where it's going to end up. And oddly enough, unfortunately, all Torah doesn't have a siddur. Sfaria has a siddur, but the Ashkenaz doesn't have the bris milah thing, or at least not that I could find. So I found this other site. Don't know what it is, but it says Ashkenaz bris. Okay, so I'm going to assume that this is. I mean, I guess you'll tell me if there's anything different than the art scroll. So I'll just read the instructions, and obviously a lot of this is minhag, but I want to just familiarize ourselves with this. So starts off with these instructions say bris maschila im havas hashushvinim es hatinok el habima. So the bris starts with I always forget the translation. The attendants bring the baby to the bima. Hakahal omed al raglav l'chvodo shel harach hanolad. That's interesting. When the congregation stands up due to the kavod for the tender youth or the tender newborn, hakal, the congregation says Baruch haba. Hamoel says Ashrei tivchar uskarev yishkon chatzerecha. Happy, praiseworthy. Tivchar uskarev yishkon chatzerecha. Okay, I'm not exactly sure how to conjugate that. The call says nishba betuv beisacha kadosh echalak. So far, is this the same as in the? What do you guys have?
I just have Baruch.
Okay, this did not sound familiar to me, so don't know what's going on here. Okay, fine. So then, okay, you know what? Let's just skip to the main course here. Okay, yeah. So then we go. Okay, so what's your next thing?
Vaydaber Hashem
El Moshe Lemor. All right, Pinchas ben Elazar.
Yeah.
Okay, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. Heshit es chamasi me'al b'nei Yisrael b'kana o es kinasi b'socham v'lochi lisi es b'nei Yisrael b'kinasi l'chein amor hinei nosen lo es brisi shalom. Okay, so it's a weird pasuk to read there, right? The Mullah says, Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron the Kohen, turned back my anger, my wrath from upon Bnei Israel when he was zealous, or when he acted zealously on my behalf among them, and I did not destroy Bnei Israel in my zealousness, my jealousness, I guess. Lachain, and more, therefore I say, Hinani nosin lo es brisi shalom. I will give you my covenant of peace. Hello. Yeah. So anyone know why we're bringing in? Okay, I mean, obviously there's a bris reference. Yeah, but right. So this is Eliyahu, right? So what's the Eliyahu connection?
He says something about Eliyahu. It does something with bris.
Okay, but why are we reading about Pinchas?
Because he is Eliyahu.
Okay, right. So the connection here is that Pinchas is Eliyahu according to Chazal, right? And apparently, that's a big enough thing that the Rambam, who is one of the most rationalist, he does not like positing miracles. He holds that that's literal, and he brings proofs. The biggest proof that he brings is the genealogy of in Divrei Hayamim says that the Kohen who trained the other Kohanim in the days of David was Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron Kohen, and that's 400 plus years after Pinchas. So Pinchas, he says, was alive for a long time, and we know, so he says that that Pinchas was around that long, and Eliyahu didn't die, so okay, whatever. That's a side topic. Okay, then it says Hamos shel Eliyahu Hanavi Zachor Latov. This is the throne of Eliyahu Hanavi, may be remembered for good. Lishwaska Kivisi Hashem. She quotes a bunch of psukim. Okay, then we get to. Okay, the Av says, you just have this hineni that the Av says hineni. Okay, memane osach shliach mitzvah b'makomi lamulas b'ni. So I assume you're going to do that.
It doesn't say that.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's like a Kabbalistic thing, right? This one is a designation, right? Because it's the father's mitzvah to to circumcise his own son, and so most fathers don't do that. I heard that there was a period in yeshiva where like that was the trend. Yeah, like a bunch of fathers tried to do it, and then the way I heard that it stopped, I think this is like a urban legend. The way I heard it stopped was that there was a father whose hand was shaking really badly, and then like they said like maybe you shouldn't do this, but yeah, I don't know. So anyway, so yeah, okay, so now we get to our berachos. All right, so Hamohel says Baruch atah Ad Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushan b'mitzvosav v'tzivana al hamilah. Okay, that's the birkas mitzvah, that's standard. Okay, then the father says Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushan b'mitzvosav v'tzivana lahachniso b'briso shel Avraham Avinu. So that's also a weird bracha, right?
I think not have the Tamar Kadosh Baruch Hu Avraham Avinu.
It did not. Yeah, I'm starting to think that this website is not Ashkenazi. Yeah, because you usually our school is like standard Ashkenaz stuff. So I don't know why this is not doing that. Okay, but okay. So then so this is the bracha that said after the Milah. Okay, then Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shechianu v'kivan lezman hazeh. Okay, shechianu. And then we get the first weird thing, or I guess this is the second weird thing. First weird thing is this bracha of lahachniso b'briso shel Avraham Avinu. Usually, so it's weird because usually we don't have thematic shevach brachos for specific mitzvahs. We have a birkas of mitzvah and we have shechianu, right? The only other one I can think of off the top of my head, well, tell me what you think of, where we have a special bracha that's not a birkas of mitzvah exactly, but like it's said about. Yeah, because of Torah, that's also its own strange category, right? Because of Torah is its own mitzvah. Even according to the Rambam, it's the another Yoraisa. So we do attach brachos to all the arbakosas. That could count. I was thinking of Sha'asa Nisim is a category, right? But it's interesting. That is a category. I know I just said that sentence twice. That's for Megillah and Hanukkah, right? And that's part of Pirsum Hanes, right? But I was thinking about the bracha of Birchas, they call it Birchas Nisuin, or Asher Kiddushan Mitzvah V'Tivan Al HaRayos, V'Asolanis Chavrusas. Yeah, I forgot what the nicknames are. Yeah, right. So there's that. So this is also weird, like, and it doesn't mention the Milah. I mean, it mentions the bris, right? So what is this doing here? Okay. And we'll see halachically it's a little weird also. Then the father says the shechianu. Okay, fine. It's also strange that we say shechianu after the mitzvah, right? Usually we say the shechianu before we do the mitzvah.
You said you do the bris, and this isn't even half job.
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Then we say, now here's the second weird thing. Kashem shenichnas lebris. The kahal says amen. Kashem shenichnas lebris came to the Torah uluchupa l'masim tovin. Okay. Strange thing, right? Like we tell a whole life story here. Okay, or future forward life story. Okay, fine. So then the next thing is your next thing break often?
Yep.
Right. Okay. So then the person holds the cup and says break often. Then we get the bracha that I want to focus on. Which actually I'm going to type the translation here. Okay, I should have been typing all along, but I missed that opportunity. Okay, so Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. So you, Hashem, are the source of blessing, King of the universe. Okay, Asher Kidash Yedid Mi Beten.
Who sanctified
Yedid.
You do definitely. You do.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but
beloved. Something about
Yeah. A beloved one. Okay. We'll just say that for now. Mi Beten, from the womb. Okay. Bishe'ero Sam.
That's not what. Well,
Oh, what does yours say? Oh, sorry, I just skipped a word. V'chok bish'ero sam. That's how you unseat the Masorah. And yeah, v'chok bish'ero sam.
and a precept in his hair.
You're thinking of Se'ar.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, Se'ar b'saro.
Like in his remnant? No. that's not.
His flesh.
Oh, in his
I think
flesh.
yeah, his flesh, right? So v'chok bish'ero sam. He placed a. You said, what do you say? Precept?
Precept.
Yeah, I'm going to go say ahead and say statute, because that's usually the word we use for chukim, in his flesh. V'tze'eta'av chasam ba'os bris kodesh.
Is that the offspring?
Yeah, and his offspring, chasam,
Or sealed?
he sealed. with a
Right. The sign of a holy
sign of a
sanctified covenant.
holy covenant. Okay. Al
You're
Cain.
doing holy over something.
Yeah, I'll do
some
holy
other
over. Yeah,
translation.
yeah.
Okay,
I'll
fine.
just go simple for now.
Sure.
Al Cain. Therefore, bischar zos.
On the merit of this.
Yeah, in the reward for this, right? Reward for this.
Right.
Kel chai chalkenu tserenu.
Living God, our portion, our rock.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in an O. O living God, our portion, our rock. Okay, or if you're gonna go by Rabbi Zimmer's translation based on the Rambam, our quarry.
Oh yeah.
Right? I think that's a whole shir. I think it's machlokes whether tsur means rock or the place where you got the rocks from. Okay. We'll just say rock for now, simpler. Save lahatzil yedidus she'erenu mishachas.
Command to say, like,
Yeah.
imperatively command. Right?
Yeah, I think so, right? I think, yeah, because otherwise it'd be tziva. Okay, so command, I think there's some machlokes about how you translate conjugate this. Command to save
the beloved one, or your beloved ones.
Yeah, so this says yedidus. Does yours say
Right,
yedidos?
right.
Okay, yeah. The belovedness of our flesh
from destruction.
from destruction. Okay, lama'an briso,
For the sake of his covenant.
for the sake of his covenant, asher sam b'v'sarenu,
which you placed in our flesh.
which he placed in our flesh. Yeah, it's okay. You, Hashem, are the source of blessing. Koris Abris, who seals the covenant. Okay. Yeah.
Like the sentence right before.
Okay, right. Okay, so yes. Okay.
From our rock command to save the lowest our flesh from destruction for the sake of his covenant. You're still talking about.
Right. So that
first to third there, didn't you?
From you mean second to third?
Oh, living God, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Second to third, right? Because you're addressing God. Yeah,
really
right.
Sentence to do that, right?
Have we not? Were you not in my share when I did this?
I mean, probably. But you're saying that like it's to like make us not.
Yeah, right. This is a good example to quote though. Is that the two examples I usually quote are Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu shakol nia bidvaro, not nia bidvarcha, right? Because what your gestures were doing was referring to the idea that like we switch back and forth between second and third person in berachos because if you feel too close to God, then that's destructive in certain ways, and if you feel too far from God, then that's destructive in other ways. So you keep switching. And then the other example that I give, which you need to know more grammar for, is Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav, which means that he sanctifies with his mitzvahs. If it was you, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech asher kiddushtanu b'mitzvosav, I think, or b'mitzvosacha. Yeah. All right. Fine. Okay. So pause on this for 1 second. I just want to compare this to the Rambam's nusach. Okay. And I'm just going to copy and paste and then change. The Rambam says, actually, you know what? Hold on. Let's actually do something. Let's actually read this in the halachas of the Rambam because now I don't know who to trust in terms of the art scroll or this weird site. So let's just look at the Rambam. Not that we rely on this practically, but I just want to see what the Rambam says. Okay. So Hamal Mavarech Kodem Sheimol. So the circumciser makes the bracha before he circumcises. Al Hamila. Im hayamal ben chavero. That's if he's circumcising the son of his fellow. Vimal beno. And if he circumcises his own son, mavar vitzivano lamul esabein. So that's a general rule that if you're doing a mitzvah for another person, then you do it al, and if you're doing it for yourself, then the default is la. So like, if you're putting up your own mezuzah, you say likboa mezuzah, and if you put up someone else's mezuzah, it's al kvias mezuzah. What do you call it? Another example, makkah, like lasos makkah or al asiyas makkah, and there are a bunch of weird exceptions.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Lulav was the first thing that came to my mind.
So on tilas lulav, there's other reasons why you would go to all, and they say for that it's because you pick up the lulav before you say the bracha, but then I think we do things to avoid being yotze for that. So yeah, okay. Anyway. The Avi Haben Mevarach Bracha Acheres. So this is an interesting thing. So the father of the son makes a different bracha. Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushan b'mitzvah v'tzivanu lahachniso b'bris shel Avraham Avinu. Now that's also weird. I just didn't notice this when we did ours. Hold on. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then wait. Just a second here. Yeah. So I don't know why I didn't ask this. Maybe you were all thinking it. I just didn't say it. What's the mitzvah of hachnasa labris? Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivyanu lahachniso b'briso shel Avraham Avinu. Right. You know, so
the whole idea of having a bris is like to be part of the covenant.
right, but that seems the covenant seems to be like pre-bris, right? Like it's not one of the like in Taryag mitzvos, you have a mitzvah of circumcising your son. You don't have a mitzvah of joining the covenant. Yeah, right. So like that's also a strange thing. So is this do we have two berachos ha-mitzvah on Milah, and this is a second berachos ha-mitzvah, or is this referring to a different mitzvah?
Kind of crazy, but it kind of sounds like peer review a little bit. Like you did bring the child into the covenant by creating the child.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I don't. It is a good question, right? I mean, I agree with your logic, right? That just simply by being born to a Jewish mother, then you're part of the bris, yeah.
Except for the fact that if the child grows up and doesn't have a bris, then someone's getting encouraged. So someone's not anymore. You know?
Right. Yeah. I guess that's the other question also, which I'm sure is a whole side share, which is what is the role of the bris? Because okay, in other words like this, the Milah is the os bris, right? It's the sign of the bris. Okay. Well, for example, you have Noah's, you have the rainbow. The covenant God made with Noah, and then the rainbow is the sign of the covenant. So that's how I thought of it. I thought that like, you know, we're part of the bris, and then the sign of the bris is the Milah, and then let's just confirm that with the words of God. Okay, in the Pesukim. Yeah. Which 17, 18? No. Yeah, 17. V'yomer Avraham Elokim Lishmael Yechid. No. Is it earlier? Hold on. Car race. There we go. No, that's Karas Hashem. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's sealing the covenant with Avraham. Was it over there? Yeah. Okay, it was here. Okay, hold on. Where's it go? Zos. Yeah, it's ambiguous, right? V'yomer Elokim el Avraham, v'ata es brisi tishmor, and you, Avraham, keep my covenant. Ata v'zaracha acharacha l'dorsan. Zos brisi asher tishmeru b'ni uve'nechem v'zaracha acharacha himolachem kol zachar. So it sounds like that is the bris, right? Is circumcising every male. U'nmaltem es b'sar alaskam v'hayad la'os bris b'ni uve'nechem. Okay, and you should circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it will be a sign of a covenant between me and you. Yeah.
That almost makes it sound like the Misa of the bris is the covenant or entering into the covenant, and then you have the os on your flesh.
Right. I see that. That would be a good resolution, right? The act of making the circumcision is the entering into the covenant, and then the sign of the covenant is just having it. Although that raises the question about the case of like being born circumcised, right? Right. Although we do hatafas tam bris, we do, and the same thing with the ger, right? Who is already circumcised. Okay, fine.
So there you would say that the drawing the blood is like the entering in, I guess, and then the os is just that.
Right. Correct. Okay, but the original question still stands, right? Which is that is this why do you have two berachos on mitzvah, and what mitzvah is it referring to? And the other thing is the one who makes the bracha on the Milah is whoever's doing the Milah, but the father, according to the Rambam at least, it always makes the bracha of lachniso b'briso. So that's also weird, because if the act of doing the Milah is what brings him into the bris, then shouldn't the mohel do that?
Right.
Right? Okay. So then you get this thing. Then he explains, look. Oh, no, not yet. Va'avi haben mavarach bracha acheres. Oh, I just read this. Yeah, okay, but fine, okay, but he explains, Shemitzvah al ha'av lamul es beno yeser al ha'mitzvah shemitzuvin kol Yisrael sheyimolu kol aral shabenehem. So it is a mitzvah upon the father to circumcise his son more than it is a mitzvah on the rest of Klal Yisrael to circumcise all uncircumcised males among them, right? So everyone has an obligation to make sure that there's no uncircumcised males, but it's on the father more than everyone. Lefikach in ein sham aviv, therefore, if the father is not present, in mevarchim acherim bracha zo, then no one else should make that bracha. So that's a weird thing, right? So now it sounds like
machnis of the bris bracha.
Yeah, the Av does the machnis lebris, but it's because Milah is his mitzvah more than others. It's just a weird, I don't know. It's weird. So it's like it's assigned to him because of that. And then he mentions V'yesh mishahora shivarhu osa beistin. Some say that beistin should make the bracha because beistin represents the congregation. O echad min ha'am, or one of the people. Ve'in roy lasos kach. And it's not proper to do this. Yeah.
How does Basin say a bracha? Like
In
all
unison.
together?
Yeah, no, probably like a representative beistin. Yeah, that's what I would guess. Yeah, it's like the mutalach. No, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. V'im hayusham omdin. And if there are standers there, we call them bystanders. Omrin, they say kishem shihicnasto lebris kach tachnisu letorah lechuppah lemasim tovim. You notice the difference? Yeah. Just as he brought him into the bris, so too you should bring him to Torah and to chuppah and masim tovim.
So it's saying in the bracha, it seems for the Rambam that the person who knows Machnas is the father.
Yes, right.
And then, so to God, you should bring him into Torah, chuppah, masim tovim.
I think so, right? Tachnisu, I think, is addressing God because it would be weird if it switched from father to second person. We don't do that for human beings, right? Yeah. And yeah, I think this is a machlokus of between the Rambam and I think I saw somewhere the Rush about because we say kishem shenichnas lebris, we say it passively, just as just as he entered into the covenant, so too he may enter into Torah and masim tovim. So that's another question we have here. We haven't been listing our questions. Okay, fine. Let me just list our questions now before I forget. Okay, so we have a question of if we don't finish this, you're gonna have to delay the no, I'm just kidding. Okay. Hopefully there will be other babies born in Klal Yisrael. Okay. Okay, so question 1 is what's the deal with the bracha of lahachniso bibriso? Okay, okay, so how is this a birkas mitzvah? Okay, what mitzvah is it? Is it a second bracha on Milah, or is it a bracha on some other mitzvah? Okay, my mind also goes to that's interesting. The bracha, there's a bracha made when you do bris milah on a ger, and that's all. I wonder what that is, because that's also bringing them into the bris. Okay, that's weird. That's a separate subject. Yeah, okay, fine. And then our question is, why does the father specifically say this as opposed to the one who does the milah? Okay, fine. So then we have second question is what's up with the kahal's response of kashem, and then like what is the machlokus between our minhag, which I'll fill in who says that when we find it, which speaks of the son passively, the son as the yikanes. Okay, I'll say as the object, and the Rambams who speaks of the father as the subject and the father and God as the subject. That's a very incompetently formulated question, but you know what I mean. Yeah, thank you. And God as the subject. That would be more incompetent. Okay, fine. Okay, so then the reason why we went to the Rambam is to read his text of the last bracha of the somebody just makes this last bracha. Bracha. Okay, so Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddush yedid mi beten. Okay, so far it's the same. So you Hashem, the source of blessing, who sanctified yedid mi beten. Okay. The chok bish'ero sam, the tzetzav chasam be'os bris kodesh. That's the same also, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm imagining that there are differences here. Let's see. Okay. Alkain bischar zos. Okay, then there's some funny business here. Alkain bischar zos kelchai chalkenu la'ad. Okay, la'ad is different. Okay, surenu. Okay, hold on a second. So, therefore, in the reward for this, O living God, our portion. Sorry, O living God, kelchai. I would translate this, our portion So la'ad means forever. Okay. I don't know if it means eternal one here. I've just never seen it used that way.
Or is it attached to our portion?
Maybe it's our portion forever. Yeah. That's a little weird though.
Isn't it Lad Sereno?
Yeah.
Looking at Lad Sereno, so
I'm not sure.
that's at least where they're putting the comma. They're saying Kalkinu Sereno, comma.
Let's look at the Rambam Siddur. Not that this is a proof, but the Rambam Siddur with all the fancies says Kelchai Chalkinu La'ad. Period. Okay. Now again, we don't know where the Rambam will put the period. And yeah, okay, fine. So that's how they take it. So then Serena starts a new thing. Our rock, Siva. Okay, hold on. Let's see. How do we read this here? Oh, so this is Saveh Kitsivisa Likdoshim. Okay, so this is still command. Command as you commanded the holy ones. The Ashkenaz doesn't have the holy ones, right? Lahatzil Yedidus. I'm just going to see if they say Yedidus or Yedidos. Yedidus Sheirenu, yeah. To save the belovedness of our oh, sorry. Hold on. Now I'm confused. Maybe Sheirenu means our remnant. Let me see how the English in the Rambam translates it.
Not what they say.
They don't say.
They say flesh.
They say flesh. Okay. Yeah, flesh. Yeah. Okay, fine. I was right the first time. Our flesh, mishachas, from destruction. Baruch atah Hashem koresab bris. You Hashem are the source of blessing who seals the covenant. Okay, so what do you notice? I guess that's odd halachically about the Rambam's formulation at the end.
Anyone says it.
That what?
That anyone says it.
No, I mean the end of the text. That's different than Ashkenaz.
Holy ones?
Yeah, why add in the holy ones? That's a good question. Who are the holy ones? But there's a halachic. Yeah, say again. Yeah, what about it? So what argument can you make for why we have this in our minhag, for the sake of his covenant which he placed in our flesh? And what's problematic about the Rambam?
Not related to the mitzvah, maybe?
Yeah, what's the rule about the conclusions of Berachos?
Yeah, before has to like relate or flow into the chasima.
Right. So the line, the penultimate sentence of the bracha has to be the same theme as the bracha, as the ultimate. Yeah, it has to be the same theme as the bracha itself. So if you ask me which of these two is correct, I'd say that the Ashkenaz one is correct. Which is weird because how is saving the holy one, the belovedness of our flesh from destruction, related to the sealing of the covenant? And it's always weird. I love when there's I love looking at the nusach and the differences in nusach, but it's always like a bonus, like a jackpot, when you have a difference in the second to the last sentence of a bracha, because that might indicate that there's like a difference in the theme of the bracha. Yeah. Okay. So I guess our third question is, our third question is, what's up with this bracha? Okay. What is it? What are we saying? What do all the phrases mean? Okay. And then specifically on the Rambam, how do we account? I guess, what is the machlokus between the Rambam and others and I guess our minhag in these textual changes, especially the penultimate sentence. Yeah.
Can you go up again to the Ashkenaz text?
Yeah, I just want to make this fancy.
Gothic.
Yeah, we have to do penultimate sentence. Yeah, okay. Scroll up to where?
Yeah, they.
I'll highlight the Kedoshim thing also. Our rock proportion. Okay. Yeah, forever, which is not the biggest difference. I could see that being command you as you commanded to say as you commanded your holy ones. Right. So we reference we reference God commanding the holy ones, right? It's also a weird thing, command to save your belovedness from our flesh. Yeah.
Like command, that command, like Shem already commanded.
Yeah.
What he commanded. Like,
yeah, right. It's weird that we're referencing a command, not the mitzvah. The other thing also, the reason why I thought that this was not an authentic bracha, confession here, is because when do we talk about schar in brachos, in mitzvos? I mean, like reward us with doing this. It's just a weird thing to mention that.
Yeah.
The only bracha I can even think of where we mention schar in general is al tzadikim, right? It's just like weird to talk about schar in mitzvos. Yeah.
I wonder
in
if,
brachos.
a bit of showing my ignorance, but is it a strange thing in brachos to beseech the sword, the rock?
Sur Yisrael, Kuma Be'ezras Yisrael, it comes to mind. So there's one. Yeah. Yeah. What was it?
what is that? Which bracha is that?
That's in the bracha before the Shemona Esrei and
In
Shacharis.
Modin also, no?
And also in
So,
yeah, right. Yeah. So I guess
That's more like us thinking the rock.
almost
Yeah.
every bracha.
okay.
Don't give me that.
Where does the second to last sentence begin in each?
Right. So it seems to be. Yeah, it's a good question.
What was the question?
Where does the penultimate sentence begin according to each one?
Mhm.
I mean, the full sentence would seem to be starting with therefore, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, in reward for this, living our portion, our rock, and then command to save the belovedness of our flesh from destruction for the sake of his covenant, which you place in our flesh. And same thing for the Rambam.
Everyone,
Yeah.
after our portion forever, you put a period. I feel like the period doesn't go there.
Yeah. So I put that there just because I'm going with the Rambam Siddur people, and they put a period there. Yeah. So it's their typo.
Okay, but in the like before that, it's the middle of a sentence.
Oh, you're right. It's their mistake. Okay.
I think you can keep that mistake as theirs.
Yeah. Our portion forever, our rock command. Yeah. Right. You're right. Okay. Okay. Fancy. I know someone you could talk to about semicolons. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it works, right? If you
Yeah.
have a period or a comma,
Exactly. Yeah, basically. Okay. So do we want to try to answer these questions now, or do we want to go to the Abu Dharam and get answers from him?
I don't want to think about the.
Yeah.
Let's see now.
This always happens. I say there's gonna be one night share on this thing, and it always turns into yeah, 3. let's not jinx it into 2. Yeah. We'll transition into a pity on the bench here. Make it last 30 days. Oh, I thought I was joking, but no, that's maybe a good idea. Yeah. Bleed netter, yes, exactly.
I
Yeah.
would appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I feel like we need more data though, right? I think because these brachos are serving weird roles, I think we need some information about these halachos. Okay, so let's go to the Abu Dharam, and I'm going to him because he is just an authoritative early source on these things. So this is in chapter 38 of the Abu Dharam. So he starts off with some halachos. Chayv kol ish miYisrael lamul es beno hanolad lo b'yom hashmini shnemar b'yom hashmini mol b'sar lo. So I'm going to kind of skim over the halachos. V'mal mevarach kon shimo baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddusham b'mitzvah v'tzivanu al hamila mechatech es haorla kol haor hachuppah es ha'atara ad shetizgala kol ha'atara v'ach kach porea es haor o hakarom harach shalamata min haor Hamadubak al ha'atara b'tziporen. I'm not going to go into the grisly details. Yeah. Umachziro ad sheyireh basar ha'atara kula. Ve'achkach motzit es hamila ad sheyatza hadam mimakomo. V'hu hadam hamaduldal. Kadei shelo yavo lidei sakana. Okay, now we know that matzita b'peh leads to sakana, so we don't do that. L'kach amru razal kol mahala d'lo matzit ma'avrinan le. V'achar shemotzit nosin alaha asplanis. Or retia v'kiotaven levi rapes. That's what you put the bandage on. V'achkach notel yadav. You wash your hands. V'rochet piv kadeshi yivarach b'nikius. Asher kiddush did me pi beten. You don't want blood streaming down when you're making the bracha. Okay. Ki yadid upiv. Sorry, yadav upiv meluch lachos b'hamila mitzita. Because your hands and your mouth are dirty from the mitzita and the milah. Okay, fine. All right. Then we get to the brachos. Umavarach avi habein. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. Asher kishan b'mitzvah v'tzivanu l'hachnisu b'briso shel Avraham Avinu. V'yishonim l'hachniso la briso v'lamed. Bibriso, who, yeah. I mean, I would have said l'hachniso. I don't know which one's right. Lachnis la. I mean, we say in the little thing afterwards, she comes la chuppah la Torah ula masim tovim. So it would make sense to say la briso, but I don't really know the grammar. Ubrachazo niskana mipnei sha'av mitzav al bno lemulo ulifdoso ulalamdo Torah ulasio isha. That's different than the Rambam. Lirmos shemehayom ve'elach mutalas alav mitzos elu. Whoa, that's very different. Okay, so let's slow down here. So he says this bracha was established because the Av is commanded to circumcise and to redeem. So he circumcise his son and redeem his son and teach him Torah and to get him married. Lirmos, which alludes to the fact shemehayom ve'elach, that from today and onward, he mutalos alav mitzvos elu, that these mitzvos are incumbent upon him. So it sounds like it's for the father, right? Like it's like a reminder for the father. I don't know about reminder of the right word, but it is, a remes, right? What does this footnote say? Where's the 9? Re'eh beis Yosef siman reish samach al he shehevi divrei Rabbeinu. V'Rambam hilchos Milah kasav Tamar shemitzvah al ha'av lamu espino yeser al mitzvah shemitzuven kol yisrael sheyimale kol aral shebineim. Okay. So now we have machlokas to work on. Okay, let's just finish reading the footnote. V'im nomar k'nizker la'el de laharama mavar ha'av kodem hamila. So if you're going to say, like we said above, that according to the Rambam, the father makes the bracha on the Milah. Yesh lomar del azli l'shita saihu de laharamam havi birkas hamitzvos ubainan over la'asiyasan. Val Rabbeinu. Oh, this is a separate issue. Oh no, this might be a real issue. Okay. Okay. Because he's referencing an earlier footnote. Okay. We gotta go earlier. Sorry about this. Where did footnote 7 go? Again, this is a disclaimer. This is a Berachos exploration here. I didn't prepare this. Okay. All right. So Mavarach Avi Haben. So footnote 7 says, Misidur divrei Rabbeinu nira shebirkas lahachniso hi acharei hamila v'hapriya. So it seems like, according to the Abu Dharam, the bracha lahachniso bebriso is after the Milah and the peeling, or the exposure, I guess. Umiloshen haramam pergimel mihilchos Milah halach alaf nirishim mevarchim lahachniso kodem shimol. Let's just make sure that we see this with our own eyes. That the Rambam said, you make the bracha of kodem shimol, right? And then v'avi haben mevarach bracha acheres Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shekisham v'tzav v'tmel lachnis b'rishol Avraham Avinu. And then the people there say the whole kashem thing. The achar kach mevarach avi ben o hamal o echad min ha'omnim sham. Okay, right. So the implication is definitely that you make the bracha beforehand. Okay, all right, fine. So then this footnote.
Yeah, when is Rambam saying you do the bris?
Rambam says you do asher tisham al hamila and lahachniso bebriso. Then you do the Milah, and then, or sorry, I guess then everyone says kashem sheichnas al bris, and then you do the Milah, and then you say the last bracha. Whereas
do the Milah before the people respond, otherwise you're going to be breaking in between the bracha and the Milah.
So I think, does he say that they say amen?
They say amen, yeah.
Yeah, right. So they are responding to the brachas. I don't think that's a hefsek because it's part of the response to the bracha. Yeah.
Yeah, the Rambam doesn't talk about making glory pretty nothing.
Correct. Yeah,
Weird.
that is interesting.
Like, thing that's different between what we do.
Yeah, that is interesting. And let's just see if it's in the siddur. Yeah, umozgin hakos umuvarach. So the footnote says in the Rambam siddur, ksuv hachi b'siddur Rab Amram gaon. Of Amnam gam milashon Rabbeinu b'teshuvosav. So the Rambam in his chuvos mashma shekina minhag levarach halkos. So he says it's a minhag. Ela shebiyom hakipurim v'tish b'av ein mevarach halkos. Okay, good.
You can do it on Tishba. No. I
My
didn't
dad
know
had
that.
that person.
Wow.
Oh, nice. V'chein hu haminhag apasha. This is the widespread minhag. Mikenem kadmasav ad hayom. So it's from very early on. Umashalo hiskir zos Rabbeinu. The fact that the Rambam does mention it nearly hatam bezeh mishum she'en chiyuv lasos hamila ba'asara. The footnote guy on the Rambam says that it's because there's no obligation to have a minyan when you do a Milah. And you only are nohig to make bracha on a kos with the 10. Gam Rav Sadigan lo hiskir kan levarach al hakos. Sadigan also doesn't say to make the bracha on a cup. Mashen came bebirchas erisim v'nisuin. Sham hiskir Rav Sadigan levarach al kos of al hadas. Okay, that was a whole. Remember the whole thing that Yoshua and I were gonna. Or that he was going to arrange. He was going to bring Hadass. Yeah, there's a whole Hadassim thing. Vizos mishum shalachatchila tzarich levarach osan basara einsham. Nimsa she'af rabbeinu modeh b'zeh leminhag lefikach hitagnu bracha zokan ach be'osios muktano. So the Rambam does hold that this is a minhag, but he doesn't mention it halachically. All right, fine. So going back to the footnote in the Abudarim, he says, we were at 7. Yeah. He says that Milashon Habraham Peragim Milah Halach Alaf Nirishim Mevarchim Lahaknisel Kodem Shimol Kishar Brachas Amitzos Shari Himshich Es Birkas Ha'av Achrei Birkas HaMohel, that the bracha of the Av continues after the bracha of the Mohel. Uba bracha zo Mefora Sham Shi Kodem HaMilah, and that bracha is explicitly before Milah. Re'eh Otzar HaGaonim Shabbos Kuflam Gimel Amud Beis Chelik HaTshuvos V'chein Shuvas Rambam, Simon blah blah blah. V'chein before Rabbeinu Prachya, don't know that is Shabbos. Sham Sharamam Hora Lahedya Levarach Lahaknisa Lifnei HaMilah. So the Rambam, apparently, according to those sources, does say that you make Lahaknisa before the Milah explicitly. Val Kesed Mishnah Sham Lo Kasav Kain Eladato Shitas Rambam Keha Rabbeinu Chanano Shizosa Bracha Hi La'achar Milah. Okay, fine. So there's machlos about what the Rambam holds. Reish Shal Shuvas Maharit Sahalon Hachadashos. She hirgish b'zeh al kes mishnah. She hisik is hirgish. Yeah, you would think it was okay. Fine. Yeah, he like is sensitive to the. He's triggered by the kesef mishnah. Mikomachim ladasa kesef mishnah lahachniso he birkas hashevach v'lo birkas mitzvos. This is why I wanted to read this, because it's going to be a question: is this grouped as one of the birkas mitzvah, and it says asher kisham b'mitzvosav, or is it a birkas hashevach? In which case, it's weird that it says asher kisham b'mitzvosav.
Like I don't understand.
Say it again.
The Berachos Sheva, like, how's that?
Yeah, how's that because of Sheva? Reimash Kasa B'zeh Rabbeinu Tam B'Sefer HaYashar V'chein B'chlala Hamila. Okay, blah blah blah. Sefer bris. Malcolm Obir Halacha. Okay, fine. This is one of these extensive footnote people. Okay, so we have to understand. So let's just formulate our question now. Okay, and this is what I actually do want to work on, because I feel like we can probably like come up with something here. Okay, so what is the basis of the machlokus between the Abu Dharam, who holds that lahachniso is made after the Milah, right? And seems to be a birkas shavach, okay? And the Rambam, who holds that it is made before the Milah, which suggests that it is a birkas hamitzvah. Okay, and then furthermore, we have the machlokus in, actually these are all going to be grouped together. Okay, then we have another question, which is what is the basis of the machlokus between the Abu, actually, we didn't see the Abu Dharam's girsa, did we? Does he say the same girsa as the Rambam of, oh no, sorry, what am I saying? Hold on, about the reason, right? The Abu Dharam, who holds that this bracha is said by the father as a remez, as an allusion to the fact that it is incumbent upon the father to bring his son, to circumcise his son. Those are the bad fathers who do that. Yeah. To redeem him, to teach him Torah, and to get him married. Okay, and the Rambam, who holds that the bracha was instituted to be said by the father because the mitzvah of Milah is more incumbent upon him. And these may or may not be related. Yeah, Isaiah?
So this is a step, and
Okay.
I wonder if this is an illegal step. Is that like
Yeah.
you can say Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'tzatav v'tzavanu, etc.
Yeah.
Maybe into like two ways. We always say it in like a halakhic way,
Yeah.
where it's like we're doing a mitzvah, and this is that you say this bracha on a mitzvah, and this is what you say in order to say a bracha on a mitzvah.
Okay.
You could also say that as like saying, "Blessed is God, the one King of the universe, who commanded us to do this thing." Like we're
praising God for the fact that He commands. Okay, good. I like that approach. Yeah.
I was thinking about it also, and I was thinking it was something too.
Yeah.
It's like a meta bracha.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing it about this specific act, you're doing it about like the whole like system.
Yeah.
And then you're for some reason saying it by this specific mitzvah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I have to. All right, I'll tell you what this reminds me of. Oh, it's gonna spoil such a good shir though. Were you any of you here the shir I gave on the kuntras shir on the berachos on matzah, maror, and pesach? Okay, so
I want to do the country.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna. I don't want to spoil it. It's such a good shir. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Never mind then. Let's just say that it. Yeah, similar vibes to the svara. Basically, the question is that if you look through all the rules about when you say al achilas matzah, like al or like lechol, those three brachos violate all the rules. And the Baal Kuntras gives us svara that is kind of like this. Okay, but it is a legal move. All right. So just to say what Isaiah is saying is, ordinarily in Birkas HaMitzvah, then the category of the bracha is we are praising God for commanding us to do something. We can say this more eloquently, but let's talk it out for a second. What was that?
It sounds like a perfect show.
Yeah.
The way you just explained it.
Oh, okay, no. So, okay, let's hold on just a second here. Let's just review our halachos. Okay, there are three kinds of bracha in the world, in the whole world, and it's important to know what the category is because there are halachic ramifications. So, there is. Okay, well, there's Birkas Mazon, which is Doraisa, but then there's three rabbinic brachos. Umidivrei Sofrim levarach. This is Rambam in Hilchos Brachos 1-2. Umidivrei Sofrim levarach al kol ma'achal tchila v'achak yehanim mimenu. So midrabanan, you make a bracha on every food, and then you derive pleasure from it. V'chein im heriach reach tov yivarach v'achak yehanim bo. Then, if it is likewise, if it's a good aroma, you make the bracha, and then you get hana from it. V'afilu niskaven lechol. Okay, fine. He gives details. Just like we make a bracha on pleasure, so too we make a bracha on each and every mitzvah, and then we do it. Chazal instituted many brachos by way of praise, thanks, and request. To remember the Creator constantly, even though you didn't derive any enjoyment and you didn't do a mitzvah. Nimtzu, consequently, kol brachos kulan shlosha. There are three types of brachos: brachos hahanaya, brachos of pleasure; brachos on mitzvah, brachos on mitzvahs; brachos hoda'a, and brachos of acknowledgement. Shehin derech shavach vodai ubakasha, which are by way of praise, thanks, and request. To remember God constantly and to be in fear of Him. Okay, so
Berachos Hodaya are part of Berachos Hoda'a.
Yeah, and I think some actually say there's a huge textual discrepancy here. Some people say that call these brachos hayira, and I think some people say brachos hahodaya.
A couple examples of that category.
Which category? Like, oh yeah, like what?
I'm asking for.
Oh, you're asking for examples of brachos on hoda. Hagomel l'chayavim tovos mishu gamalani kol tov. I mean, you could say that that's shavak. It's hard to tell which ones are hoda and which ones are not. There's a machlokus about whether the brachos. I've heard it said. Okay, you have this machlokus of the brachos hashachar about the Gemara says that you're supposed to do the action and then you say the bracha afterwards, right? So let's say like you sit up in bed and then you say Matir Asurim. You put your feet on the ground, Rokar Zamayim. You stand up, Zokef Kfufim. And then the Minhag Ashkenaz, which is from the Bali Tosfos, is you say all the brachos no matter what, right? So I've heard that machlokes being defined as are these brachos of shevach or brachos of hoda'ah? If it's brachos of shevach, then you make them no matter what. And if it's brachos of hoda'ah, then if you don't personally like benefit from doing the thing, then you don't say that bracha, Yeah. So by the way, for those wondering, in our yeshiva, we follow the minhag that for Havdalah, then you say borei merei. We use the light, and then we say borei merei ha'esh. Whereas the rest, much of the rest of the world says the bracha and then does the finger thing. So we hold that it's a bracha of shevach, and that you need to do the thing that you're praising God for. So you use the light and then you say the bracha on it. The rest of the world holds that it's a separate category of birchas nehenen, that we're making a bracha to permit us to use the light somehow, so that, so that I'm saying, like, that's an example of like categorizing the bracha is important, has halakhic ramifications. So Isaiah's theory is like this, there is the mat, I guess, I don't know, the matbea habracha, okay, which is the mold of the bracha, okay, which is Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, right? And then there's the content of the bracha. So what Isaiah's move is to say that ordinarily when we use the phrase Asher Kiddishanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu, that's part of the matbea of Berachos HaMitzvah. So when we say that for the first bracha of Milah, then we're saying it as a Berachos HaMitzvah. But perhaps according to the Abu Dharam, then when we say Asher Kiddush, when we say we are praising God. The Asher Kiddishanu is part of the content of the praise of God, that we're praising God for sanctifying us. And why am I forgetting the text of the bracha? Sanctifying us with his mitzvos and commanding us to bring this kid into the bris. Yeah, that's a good svara. I like that. Yeah. Okay, were you gonna say something?
Well, I was gonna ask a question, but then I answered it, but I'll just ask it anyway.
Sure.
I think it's important. So, I mean, I think that begs the question of like why this mitzvah, right?
Right.
So then I think the context of the following words answers that, which is that like this is the bracha that's bringing him into the system that you're thinking of.
Right. This is your starter kit mitzvah, right? Like it brings you into this to get you into the club, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're making reference to the system that you're bringing the kid into through this mitzvah.
Exactly, right. In the bracha itself. And that's why I'm curious about what we say for a ger. Let me see if the Rambam has this in the same paragraph. If he doesn't, then I'll have to look into it later. Let me do ger. Hamal Hagerim Mavarach Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam Asher Kiddushan b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lemul es hagerim u'lahatif mehen dam bris. Wow, you actually reference the hatavas dam bris even though you're doing a regular circumcision. Oh, whoa! She'ilam male dam bris lo niskaimu shamayim aretz. That were it not for the blood of the covenant, then the heavens and the earth would not last. Wow. Shneimar, as it says, imlo brisi yomam v'layla chukos shamayim ba'aretz lo samti. If not for my covenant day and night, then the laws of the heavens and earth I would not have placed. Wow. Okay, that's a weird bracha. And let's just read the next one. Hold on. Yeah, the Evid one. Hamalas avdo, because remember that's the weird thing also is you're chayav to circumcise all your every male in your household, right? So your servants are considered part of your household, not like the mailman happens to walk in at the wrong time. Okay, Hamal is avdo. Was it?
The ger not circumcised himself.
I think he could.
Okay.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah. Hamal es avdo mavarach Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam Asher Kiddushan b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lamul es ha'avadim l'hafi tif mehen dam bris she'ilam male dam bris lo niskam shamayim ba'aretz shneimar lo im lo brisi yomam v'layla. So same bracha.
Is that part of the bracha?
Yeah. No, I think you quote the pasuk in the bracha. Yeah, that's strange. V'im mal, and it's v'im mal eved shalcherim mavarach al milas avadim. What? Okay. On the milah of avadim v'hamal adam gadol. Yeah, right. So that's the Abu Dharam mentioned that. I kind of skimmed over it, but he said oh no, he didn't mention that. Someone said that that I was reading said you don't need to cover up the erva of the kid. I guess he's too young. But with what was that? Yeah, I guess Basar. I don't know. I never thought about this before, but I mean,
they'd have to be like a certain age for it to be.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So back on the machloket.
Yes.
So fine. So we have an idea. I feel like for the side that says you say after.
Right.
But for that says before, it's weird to say it's a birchas hamitzvah.
Right.
That's what we're saying. Because what mitzvah? Like
right.
You already said a bracha on the mitzvah with Milah, right? So
right. So that's going to be the question on the Rambam is if it's a birchas mitzvah, why do you need two here?
Can
Yeah.
you say that this is the mitzvah for the father? I mean,
Interesting.
one is more mitzvah for the son,
Right.
and the son needs to be circumcised. There's also the obligation on father, which seems like a pseudo.
Yeah, that fits into the way that the Rambam described it, right?
Right.
Shemitzvah al ha'av lamul es b'no yesr al hamitzvah mutzivin al kol Yisrael shemul kol arosh v'nem. Right. So the question is, what kind of bracha is this? Meaning,
I would ask more what kind of mitzvah is this?
yeah. So the reason why I'm not asking that, and in fact, actually, we should look at Pidyon Haben and see if there's a similar extra mitzvah. I was going to say that this is a mitzvahs ben al ha'av,
Yeah.
right? Is a category, right? So not that answers your question, but like,
Yeah.
there is this category of like who is obligated, but then who carries it out.
Mhm.
So to me, it's more of a question on the bracha of like, why did they institute a bracha for this? Yeah. Because like the way that the Abu Dharam said it, it almost, this is another question as well, is that what kind of idea is this, like this remez? It's a remez that from now on, then these things are coming upon the father. Like, are we using brachos as like reminders of parental responsibility?
Isn't a berachah mitzvah to put a person into the mindset of that you're doing a mitzvah now, and that you should be focused on the ideas of the mitzvah?
Okay, so yes, for the Rambam, but what we're saying for the Abu Dharam is that this is a Berachos HaShevach, right? So this is a weird thing for Berachos HaShevach that like, we're reminding the father about this. So maybe you can say, anyone have any idea? Maybe you can say that it is a Shevach that the father gets to play this role, of facilitating this, like essentially the child, the entire, baby, child, teenage development of his kid, meaning like there is, there's a, like, it's a privilege to be able to, like help a member of the Jewish people develop in this way. And the fact that the father gets to do this, and to like oversee this development is like a huge, is like a cause for Shevach, independent. And it's interesting. It's a cause for Shevach that is related to mitzvahs. Like in other words, like Isaiah Svar, it makes sense now that you're praising God for commanding you in these institutions, as the father. And it's a Shevach that you're praising God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're going to the Rambam now. Why do you need two brachos of mitzvah? Let's look at our favorite / my favorite Rambam commentary, the Yad Pshuta, and then we'll wrap up for tonight. He says, let's see if we can find it. Avraham Avinu, Shemitzvah ha'av, davar zen nisbar la'el aleph aleph. So the Rambam explains this earlier in the first halacha. Bar Rabbeinu lahasbir ma makom lebracha shniya zo. Hari birchas hamitzvah hi birchas hamal. V'hecha mitzinu shtei brachas lemitzvah achas. Okay, so we asked our question. Good. Lefikach masbir kansha av moda al chelko bebracha zo shemitzvah alav yeser al hamitzvah shemitzuvin kol Yisrael umimela she'en bracha zo sheyachas la'acherim. Okay, so he's learning it similar to what we just said for birchas hashevach, but he's saying that the father is giving thanks for the fact that he has this unique portion, that it's a mitzvah upon him more so than on other Jews. And and this is not relevant to others. Still weird though that the father makes this bracha even if someone else does the Milah though.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he still has a mitzvah.
He still has a mitzvah, and I guess the guy who's doing it is a shliach, right? It's not like yeah. I wonder. I guess tell me tomorrow, like, does the shliach? I've never been so close to the moel. Yeah. So like, I wonder if he actually like tells you to appoint him as the shliach, because otherwise, what would happen if there's no appointment? Otherwise, it's a stam Jew who's doing a mitzvah.
Maybe it's assumed because of the mall.
Yeah, it could be that there's like a stam das. Okay, and then he says, I'm just going to read this next two paragraphs, and we'll stop for tonight. B'sefer Itur, Pirish. What was that? I think it's Bal Itur, yeah. Pirish Yoser V'zeh Lashano. So he explains more, and he says, the alpha pisha ha'av mohel mavarach lahachniso, ulafisha ha'av mitzuva al b'no lamulo uliftoso v'lilamdo Torah ulahasio isha umavarach kimyom hivaldo ve'elach mitzvah mutelos alav lahachniso b'bris v'torah mitzvah lahasio isha. Okay, so I guess that's what the Abu Dharma was referring to. Berachos ha'av ha'bein hakolhu. Oh, that's interesting. The am is mashlim the bracha. Omrim kishim shehicnasto lebris kain tachnisu l'torah l'chubul l'mazim tovim. She'eluhin mitzvos ha'av hamutalas she'eluhin ha'mitzvos habein hamutalas ha'av. So he's theorizing that the am is completing the shavach, and that's why he's saying that just as he brings him into the bris. See, it still is weird that it switches to God though. Yeah, I don't think you can learn it as switching to the guy. Okay, veneer.
Especially if it's in context of the father has these specific mitzvos.
Yeah.
It makes sense to be like God.
Yeah, right. That, yeah, it would make sense if this was referring to the father. Just grammatically, I don't know how it works out. Veneer lahatim hadavar al pi sifra. So he says you can give it some more tam. You could season it based on the sifra. Uma Talmud Torah libno, uma Talmud Torah libito. Okay. I don't know what that's asking. On Vayikra 21:2. So let's just look that up. Vayikra 21:2. This is about Arios, or is this no? This is about being matame for relatives. V'yomer Hashem el Moshe emor al kohanim bnei Aaron v'yamarte aleim lenefesh lo yitamam v'yamav. Do not become tummy for a soul among your people. Im l'shei ro hakarav ilav, only to his flesh who is close to him. L'imo ulaviv v'livno ulevito ulachiv, to his father, his mother, his son, his daughter, and his brother. So the Sifra says, Uma Talmud Lomar Libino, Uma Talmud Lomar Libito. Why does it have to say his son and his daughter? Because the son has something, he has for his son what he doesn't have for his daughter. Habein Aviv Chayev Bo Mitzvos. Lamulo, Lifdoso, Lamdator, Lamundo Umanus. Oh, that's a new one. Ulasio Isha, Mash Enkim Babas. Okay, so the father has like additional responsibilities towards the son that he doesn't have towards the daughter. I don't know what that has to do with that, the Tuma thing. Yeah. Okay. So, so I think we have a good approach for this. Yeah.
I just wanted to note that in the Twitter, an article says in some congregations at this point, the father verbally appoints the mole as its agent to perform circumcision on his son.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Right after you say the Hinami.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So the only thing that we did not answer in that machlokis is the Rambam about why you need two berachos of mitzvah. We started to answer it, which is that it's like an additional shevach for the opportunity to have this other mitzvah, but it still doesn't sit right with me that it is that kind of like pushes the original svara. Now, like we either have to choose of the original svara that you're praising God for having the opportunity to do this mitzvah, or you have to explain why, if that's also what the Rambam holds, why he holds you put it before and the Abu Dharma holds you put it after. So we have what to think about. Okay, so let's, if no one minds, let's continue this next week, and I'll actually have time to prepare it.
Right.
All right, fun area.
Really.
Okay, good. And the ideas, thankfully, the ideas of bris are relevant all lifelong. Yeah, yeah.
I looked at the video and Ben. There's only one berachos mitzvah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the simple, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Boring. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for coming, Kelly. Glad you could join us. Long time no see. All right. See ya.
Thank you.